Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter. Hello there guys, it's Adam Martyn here, and welcome to this, unscripted video, but this one's more about Doctor Who. Now, obviously we've had recent news that we're getting our first 60s box set on Blu-ray as part of the collection range. That'll be Season 2, starring William Hartnell as the Doctor. We're all very excited. We've been waiting ages for a 60s season to come to Blu-ray. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation as to which one it would be, because sadly, all of the 60 seasons do have missing episodes to them, and it seems how one aspect in which they're happy to tackle it is to use photo reconstructions, which isn't a bad thing. I don't think that should be tossed around as a dirty word or such. Like, animation is very expensive, it takes a lot of time, and it depends whether the funding's available. There's a whole lot of factors, and considering with Season 2 only having 2 missing individual episodes, a photo recon isn't exactly a bad compromise in my view. But this did get me thinking, if they're happy to take this approach, which of the 60s seasons will be next? I already did a video late last year sort of giving my thoughts on which of the box sets could be next, which was purely speculation based, no inside info or anything like that. So I thought I'd just go through the 60s ones and take a look at which might be most likely. So starting off, we're going to go with Season 1. So Season 1's an interesting beast. So there's 8 stories, and here's the ones that have all their episodes intact. So An Unearthly Child, The Daleks, The Edge of Destruction, The Keys of Marinus, The Aztecs, and The Sensorites. Now, a big reason why a lot of these episodes still survive is this was the era, the beginning of Doctor Who. It was sold abroad a lot to various television companies, a lot of film prints exist, but it does have its own missing episodes. Now, 2 of them out of the 9 of this season have already been animated, that being The Reign of Terror. So episodes 4 and 5 are missing, however they were animated in 2013 for its DVD release, which leaves one black sheep of a story left to cover, and that is Marco Polo. This is the 4th story of the season. It's a 7-episode story, and unfortunately, every single episode is missing. Obviously, this is the one I think people would love to see animated. I mean, there's been a lot of rumour and speculation that because this is Season 1, and we've got the 60th anniversary coming up, that this will be the release for, released around November 2023, which would be fantastic. I'd be all for that. I think that sounds amazing. But how are they going to tackle Marco Polo? This isn't a case like The Crusade where we only have 2 episodes missing. 7 episodes are missing. And there's a lot of characters in Marco Polo. There's, a lot of set pieces, a lot of costumes. All of that adds on to animation cost and stuff like that. So then you go, all right, well, what about a photo reconstruction? Well, that one's even trickier because episode 4, Wall of Lies, doesn't have any telesnaps. Now, for anyone who's unfamiliar, telesnaps were sort of created by a guy called John Cura, who developed a system to rapidly take photographs of the television. You remember this was at a time before VHS, before DVD, certainly. So having telesnaps was one way to sort of get proof of your work on television, I guess, photo proof, amongst other things. These weren't standard, though. This was by, the producer's discretion. And for whatever reason, episode 4 of of Marco Polo doesn't have any telesnaps. So outside of maybe a few set photos or using what we've got from other episodes, episode 4 has no visual record, which is a great shame. So photo reconstruction there would be very, very tricky indeed. Marco Polo has already had an attempted reconstruction released on DVD way back in 2006 when the beginning box set came out. It was included as a 30-minute cut-down version. Now, considering Marco Polo is 7 episodes long, that puts it well over the 2-hour mark. So condensing it into 30 minutes is a challenge, and I haven't actually watched that in a very long time, so I can't even remember how concisely or rapidly it goes through the episode. It does use photo reconstruction, so maybe it'll be an expanded version of that, and maybe, say you have photo reconstruction for the 6 episodes with a visual record, and then for episode 4, maybe you animate that one if you have the budget, just as like a fun experiment, maybe trying a different type of animation, maybe try and go for the pseudo 3D we saw in the Web of Fear. I know that got a lot of derision, but, it's an idea. So when you break it down into just raw percentages, I've decided to base the percentage of completion based on not only existing episodes, but including episodes that have already been animated or reconstructed in some high quality way. So for season 1 is 83.3% complete. So that's pretty high, so I can see why they'd want to maybe make that a priority. You've only got Marco Polo, but Marco Polo is a beast. So how they're going to tackle that, I'm not too sure. Let's move on then to Season 3. Now, this is the doozy. This is probably, in my opinion, going to be the last 60 set to be released, and, well, you'll see why. There's 10 stories to this season. Let me take you through the ones that already have all their episodes or have been reconstructed. So Galaxy 4, that was released last year. That's been animated, so that's covered. The Ark has all 4 of its episodes. The Gunfighters has all 4 of its episodes, as does the War Machine. So that's a grand total of 4 out of 10 stories that are complete in some way, whether that's their original episodes or via animated reconstruction. So let's go through what we don't have. So the first one is Mission to the Unknown. This was a single episode, sort of a prelude to Dalek's master plan. We have some, I believe, photographs, like set photographs. However, like the case with episode 4 of Marco Polo, there is no visual record. Teleslaps were not taken. So how on earth do you reconstruct this? Well, there has already been a reconstruction. Back in 2019, students at UCLan reconstructed it to the best of their ability, using notes from camera scripts, from the scripts itself. They tried to replicate the costumes, the look and feel, and I think it actually works really well. So if an arrangement can be made, I don't see why Mission to the Unknown can't just be filled with the UCLan reconstruction, or at least include it as an option. Some say it's 1 episode, so you could animate it anyway based on, again, what we know, take some visual liberties, but I think the UCLan reconstruction deserves to have a place on the box set somewhere. Then you have the Mythmakers, which is 4 episodes. All of them are lost. None of them have a visual record, except for a few very brief clips of part 4 that was shot on a home movie camera. So the quality is variable. Again, with no visual record, we might have some set photographs and stuff like that. So if you were going to animate this, you'd have to do this completely from scratch in terms of, again, like artistic interpretation, for want of a better word. So, yeah, that'll be another tricky one to do. The Daleks' Master Plan, now this is a 12-episode story. Only 3 of its 12 episodes survive, so only a quarter of the story. And out of the 9 missing episodes, 5 of them don't have any visual record. Again, maybe 1 or 2 set photographs or, taken during filming. But in terms of, telesnaps or anything like that, 5 of the 9 episodes don't have a visual record. To animate this, if they're having to animate the whole story, all 12... that would take a very, very, very long time. And some people, and I can see why, would say from Dalek's Master Plan alone, that would push Season 3's release back potentially years. And, I'm not surprised. I really don't know how they're going to do this. I mean, with the episodes that do have a visual record, 4 of the missing ones, I guess you could do a photo reconstruction. But then what are you going to do for the ones that don't? So that's a big question mark there. Moving on to the Massacre, again, similar situation. All 4 episodes are missing. None of them have a visual record outside of a few set photos. So either you animate completely from scratch, but time, budget, money, you can't really do a photo reconstruction. So the thing is, some people have said, oh, well, all of these stories have had a release on CD because the audio for all of these stories survives. So, why don't you just release the audio version on the Blu-ray? And I agree, you can include it, but I don't think having the audio alone to represent the story might necessarily fly with, whoever puts investment into these things or the BBC itself. Do you know what I mean? I think whoever's in charge of the purse of these collection sets probably wants some sort of visual representation in whatever form that takes. The next story with missing episodes would be The Celestial Toymaker. So this is a 4-episode story. Episode 4 does survive, however, episodes 1 to 3 are missing. And again, unfortunately, there is no visual record. It seems the producer of this time just wasn't interested in ordering telesnaps, so there's always rumor that some might have been taken and then just not distributed, but there's no confirmation of that. See, this is what I mean. Season 3 is a beast. With so many stories not having a visual record, like via telesnaps or whatever, it does pull into question how this is gonna happen eventually. And the last one, a bit more hope in this one. So we have The Savages, which again is 4 episodes. All 4 of them are missing. However, telesnaps do exist for The Savages, so there's a bit of hope in that one. So in that case, if telesnaps exist, you could do a photo reconstruction of The Savages, animating it, I guess, is a possibility. I mean, you've got photographs to reference what characters look like, sets look like, costumes, etc. But considering the amount of stories in Season 3 that would need work, I wouldn't blame them at all for going for a photo reconstruction for the Savages. So out of Season 3's 45 episodes, 27 of them are missing today. However, there's only 24 to animate or reconstruct because the 3 missing ones from Galaxy 4 have been done. So that takes that number down to 24 to animate or reconstruct. However, 17 of those 24 episodes have no visual record outside of a few photographs. So that makes it very tricky. So in that case, you would have to probably animate from scratch, based on scripts, camera scripts, all that sort of stuff. So in my personal opinion, I think Season 3 isn't happening for a long time. In terms of raw percentage, in terms of completion, again, I'll be including the animated Galaxy 4 into the completion. Season 3 is 46.7% complete, so just under halfway, which again makes me think Season 3 is not coming anytime soon. If anything, it wouldn't surprise me if this was the last Classic Who box set to get the Blu-ray treatment. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Moving on to Season 4. Now, if you'd have asked me this 10 years ago, I'd argue the situation would have been even bleaker than Series 3. However, there's a bit more hope to this one. Let's go through the 9 stories of Season 4, and I'll tell you which ones are already sort of covered. So you have the 10th Planet, that does have a missing episode, episode 4, however that's already been animated. Power of the Daleks is entirely missing, but that's been animated, so that's covered. The Moon Base has 2 episodes missing, that's been animated, so that's covered. The Macro Terror has all its episodes missing, though that's been animated. The Faceless Ones has 2/3 of its episodes missing, but again, it's been animated. And Evil of the Daleks has only 1 surviving episode of the 7, but again, it's been animated. So in terms of stories sort of set, ready to go, that's 6 out of 9. So that's promising. However, again, keep in mind, a lot of this is only possible because they've been animated. One glaring one that you might be pointing out I haven't mentioned is the Underwater Menace. So episodes 1 and 4 of the Underwater Menace are missing. Telesnaps do exist. Well, you know they exist because back in 2015 they released Underwater Menace to DVD and there was a photo reconstruction. However, it was severely panned of being, really not up to snuff. It was sort of poor quality, etc., etc. I believe the circumstances of the time were that the BBC or whoever was in charge of the DVD releases was really pushing for this to be released, sort of a rush release, so they couldn't spend the adequate time on it, and they actually maybe had planned to animate the missing episodes of this, because there was only 2, and they'd just done the Moon Base, which only had 2 missing, so it could have been done. It was a bit botched, and it resulted in a sort of very mixed bag. So I think they could do a better photo reconstruction, definitely, or potentially animate if there's budget there to do that, so the Underwater Menace needs covering there. The other 2 glaring ones are the season opener, The Smugglers, which is back to William Hartnell. All 4 episodes are missing. There are telesnaps for all of them, which is good. It seems the producers, when they changed over to Innes Lloyd, he always ordered telesnaps, it seems. So we could see a photo reconstruction of that. And the other one is The Highlanders, which is the story that introduced Jamie. All 4 episodes are missing again. Telesnaps exist, so that rounds it off. So let's consider this. So out of 9 stories, 6 of them are already done, thanks to the medium largely of animation. But, I would consider that a way to watch it. And then The Underwater Menace simply needs a better photo recon at the very least. And the other 2 could be photo recons as well if the budget isn't there. So if The Smugglers, The Highlanders, and The Underwater Menace were all photo recons, and then you've got the rest of the missing stuff filled with animation, personally, I'd be more than happy with that. That it's a way to get Season 4 out there. It's a way we can watch it. Because again, remember 10 years ago, like before the animation started, that number of 6 I mentioned about stories completed with animation. So take that number from 6 and honestly drop it to 0. Because this time 10 years ago, none of these stories were fully complete. All of them had missing episodes. None of them have been animated at this point. So we've got to count our blessings here, folks. So looking at that, again, out of the 43 episodes, 33 of them in terms of like the raw episode itself, 33 episodes are missing. It's the highest ratio of any classic season or near enough to Season 3. 23 of those have been animated. So there's only 10 left, and yes, I am including the 2 Underwater Menace ones in this because I do think a better photo recon at least could be done. So with only 10 out of 43 left to do, percentage-wise, Season 4 is 76.7% complete. So I don't think you'll see it released maybe in like the next year or maybe even the next 2 years, but maybe say around late 24, early 25, it might get a release. It all depends what happens with the animations as well, because obviously BBC America's pulled their funding. If they can find another investor of some kind to pump some money in, then maybe they can finish off, where they started with the animations, get some more done. Moving on to Season 5, again, this one has similarly benefited from the medium of animation. So out of the 7 stories of Season 5, let's go through them, shall we? So the ones that are already covered, Tomb of the Cybermen, The Abominable Snowmen is coming out later this year, that's been animated. The Ice Warriors, that has its 2 missing episodes animated as well. The Enemy of the World exists in its entirety. The Web of Fear is all sorted, it had its missing episode animated as well. Fury from the Deep has its missing episodes animated, that's already done. Which leaves, so that's 6 out of 7 stories done, that only leaves The Wheel in Space, the season finale. So it's a 6-episode story, 4 of them are missing, episode-wise. Telesnaps exist, thankfully. So, at the very least, if animation budgets aren't there, you could at the very least do a photo recon of the Wheel in Space. You've only got 2 episodes to reconstruct there, and I think you could make that fairly straightforward with photo reconstructions. Again, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, the only story that really would have been ready to go would have been Tomb of the Cybermen. Because remember, 10 years ago, Enemy of the World, bar 1 episode, was still considered missing, as was the Web of Fear, and they got found in 2013, thankfully. So, yeah, we've got to be really thankful. Yes, most of the season is complete in an animated form, but again, I'd honestly take that over no release at all. So out of the 40 episodes of Season 5, the original film or whatever is missing, right? Half of the season is missing. However, 16 episodes of those 20 have been animated, so you've only got 4 left, which is the 4 for Wheel in Space, which means percentage-wise, Season 5 is 90% complete. That's a lovely high number. So I've seen some people say this could be the first Troughton one to be released, and I wouldn't be surprised. Although, I think what might delay that is they might want to leave some time. Remember, a lot of these animations, like The Abominable Snowmen's coming out, Fury from the Deep was a few years ago. The Web of Fear animated one was last year. It's all been quite recent, so I think they might want to leave at least a year, maybe close to 2, just to let those, individual releases breathe a little bit, and then they'll maybe get round to the box set. Again, I've got no confirmation of that, that's pure speculation, but it wouldn't surprise me if this was the first Troughton one we see. And finally, we have Season 6, so this one again is looking a bit better prospect-wise. Out of the 7 stories, here's what we've got. So the Dominators is all complete, as is the Mind Robber. The Invasion has 2 episodes missing, but they've been animated. We have the Crotons all complete. The Seeds of Death's complete. And the War Games is complete. So again, 6 out of 7 stories are basically covered. The one is the penultimate, the Space Pirates. That's a 6-episode story. Only episode 2 exists, all the others are missing. Episode 1 does have some visual records. Some of the film footage exists. However, episodes 3 to 6 do not have a visual record. John Cura sadly passed away not long after the broadcast of the Space Pirates, the man behind the telesnaps, and it seems he stopped doing telesnaps for Doctor Who after the Mind Robber earlier in the season, whether that was the producer stopped ordering them or whether he just couldn't continue doing them, because he was sort of a one-man army. Yeah, no visual record for the rest of the Space Pirates, unfortunately, outside of a few photographs. It's really annoying because obviously it's almost nearly done, but without a visual record, that makes things a lot harder. You do have episodes 1 and 2 to pull from, so that might help in terms of, again, sets, characters, costumes, but if you're going to animate this, I think that it could also be a particular challenge. Personally, considering it's the only story left to cover, similar to Season 2, I'd be more than happy with a photo reconstruction, but again, that can't really happen because there's no visual record, which sort of leaves animation the only way to go, unless you're just going to release the raw audio on its own. But again, I don't think whoever's in charge of, authorizing or investing in these sets is going to let that fly. So out of the 44 episodes, let's count them, 44 episodes of Season 6, only 7 are missing, like the film isn't there. However, 2 of them have already been covered via animation, so that leaves 5 episodes left to animate or reconstruct in full, all belonging to the Space Pirates, which means in terms of completion, Season 6 is 88.6% complete. So that rounds off the 60 set. I mean, when you look at these all together, these aren't really bad prospects. I mean, all of them are in the green apart from Season 3. I mean, Season 3, let's face it, that's going to take a long time to see the light of day. It's going to be a chunky box set as well, but all the stories that either need a photo reconstruction or an animation or something, it's going to take a while before that's ready. I think that'll be the last one of the range, I really do. I mean, looking at Season 1, over 80% complete, I think if they figure out how they're going to do Marco Polo, how they're going to cover that, then that could come out pretty soon. Whether it's coming out for the 60th, I don't know. Obviously, the highest one is Season 5. That's at 90% completion. Just got to sort out the wheel in space. However, as I mentioned, because a lot of these releases are new, I think they'll wait a little bit of time before they do that. Same with Season 4, really, because a lot of the animations have been Season 4-centric, which itself is 76.7% done. It just allows them time to figure out what they're going to do with the smugglers, with the Highlanders, with the Underwater Menace. And Season 6, again, it depends how they're going to do the Space Pirates. So a lot of these are determined on how they're going to, how they're going to sort out what's left. But if I'm going to be honest, I think Season 1 could be most likely, but I don't know what they're going to do about Marco Polo, man. I really don't know how they're going to cover that one. But honestly, these are just my thoughts. As I say, I've got no inside information. This is pure speculation on my part. It's just a bit of fun, really. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you disagree? Do you think a different set of these is coming out first? Let me know what you think is coming in what order in the comments below. I'd be really interested to see. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. We'd love to have you aboard. Leave a like on this video as well, it really helps us out. I've been Adam Martyn from AMTV. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Kelly is Live, Tracy Smith, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, The Welsh Lady, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, Cooking at Nans and DIY, and Francine Salazar, our AMTV staff members.